Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Core. This is Core episode, I don't know. 235. It's September 9th, 2020. I'm Scott Johnson. Brian. Oh, shit.
Oh, good. Brian's here.
Neither of you are Brian. I work with too many Brians. This stuff just rolls out of my face sometimes. It's John Jagger and Bo Schwartz. Nothing like Brian. What's going on, fellas?
Hey!
Come on. Hey. Oh, what?
How you doing?
Oh, is that your Brian impression? Is that what that was?
Yeah, I'm Brian Ibbett. From Boulder, Colorado.
It's Arvada, but you're close. You're close.
What? Oh, it's Arvada?
Yeah, he lives in
I'm
Arvada. Yeah, which always sounds like Nevada, but it's Arvada. Hey.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Welcome back to the show. Lots of stuff going on this week, actually. Perfect time for us to meet and greet and talk about this stuff, so let's do it now. So, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think I'm getting an Xbox Series S.
Look at you.
Yeah, you are.
And I'll tell you
why.
I
see the look of excitement in your face.
I am pretty excited. I mean, here's the thing. We're probably going to have to hear from Sony before we get too excited about anything, because they need to sort of answer this with whatever their release date and price, official prices are, because we don't know yet. They didn't blink first. Microsoft did. And if you believe what some people say, that early reveal of the price points, release dates, and so forth, and technically the entire confirmation on the S version of the console, all of that happened as presented as leaks. But if you believe the rumors, some people think Microsoft intentionally had that stuff leaked, and it was a great way for them to get behind it. Possibly. I don't know. Actually, I think it was kind of a double win for them. It didn't hurt them to announce it this way. And it doesn't necessarily... I don't know that a big formal presentation would have done much more for me than this did already. So basically, let me give you the basics. They unveiled officially now the Xbox Series S. The Series X was already known quantity, but not release date or price. Now we know all of that. The S is going to be $299. We'll get into the specs in a second. The X will release at $499.99. Both of these happening same day, November 11th. They start pre-orders on the 22nd, so about a week and a half from now, 2 weeks, whatever it is. The $299 S, you're wondering if you're listening to this going, well, what is the big difference here? What is the $200 difference? And the difference is this. The X will do 4K 60 at a baseline. You can go up to 120 in some games, but that's the frames per second. But 4K, native 4K, this will do native 1440p, which mostly just PC people know about. Most home users aren't going to go, 1440p, thank goodness, because nobody thinks about that. So it's kind of a weird thing, but anyway, more than 1080p. So technically higher resolution than standard 1080p, which is
the difference?
Resolution.
Super important. Well, no, I mean like 1440 minus 1080.
Oh,
it's 360.
360.
I had a suspicion.
Up and down, right?
Well, I mean, because Xbox 360, now this is a 360 difference.
See.
They're offering it. It's all connected, Scott.
I see.
Yeah, he's seeing the numbers behind the numbers.
Phil Spencer is like 2 universes ahead of us in this video game industry world.
Surely he is. Yeah. I hadn't really thought
sorry to
about
interrupt you, but it was important.
It's all good. I like what you've done.
Bo peers through the news to get to the truth behind it.
Yeah, we're not messing around here on Core. So, all right. So $499, $299. The $299 price, lower resolution, otherwise the same. It's got all the same capabilities in terms of its whatever they call their velocity engine, SSD access stuff. So fast load times, all that stuff. It has the video capabilities up to that resolution that the big Papa one has. Again, only difference being resolution. So ray tracing, all that stuff is in there. Really, on that end, that's the only technical difference.
Does it have a disk drive?
No disk drive, no optical drive. So there's another chief difference. So this is like a digital only console, which is what I do anyway. So to me, it's not even an issue. If I end up with a PS5, it'll be that digital only box as well. Like I just don't care about an optical drive at all. Like zero interest in having another drive to put discs in. So don't care about that at all. There are going to be some people that really want that. And hey, good news. The X and the PS5 full featured both have those available to them. The other technical difference is a hardware one, and it's storage. So 512 gigabytes of storage for the S, a terabyte for the X. Now,
wow.
you might say, well, it's double, right? You might say this is a problem because if you're talking about a digital-only console, storage is everything because everything's being downloaded and stored somewhere. And you'd be right, except there's also the xCloud Play, which means you're going to be playing a lot of these games streaming and not caring what the hard drive is. Also installing and removing and putting a different game on and taking one off if things get too full. These are all options. But games are getting bigger, and next generation games are always larger than the previous generation. So it's a consideration. And they'll also sell add-on storage unit things that will work with both these consoles that are terabyte expansions. They will not be cheap, and we don't know what those prices are, but I guarantee they won't be cheap. They're proprietary. These aren't just standard hard drives. It should be noted, though, that if you're going to play Xbox One or any of the 360 compatible stuff from any of the previous consoles, and they have the most in terms of backwards compatibility through these few generations, you can use a 3.1 USB or USB 3.1 external drive to still run those, like you can right now on a Xbox One. So that will continue to be an option for you if a lot of your games are older and you're running them that way, no problem. But if it's a new game running on the new platform, either S or X, you're out of luck when it comes to that external solution, at least for now. This add-on thing, we don't know what they're going to cost, so nobody knows. If it's enough to bump it up the price where you're going to basically get an X anyway, plus 500 gig, maybe that's worth it. I don't know. But those are options, okay?
Yeah.
So already out of the gate, I'm just going to say this. These are both really good prices for what you're getting. These are probably Microsoft losing some money at first. This is them doing lost leadership. This is them burning some cash because they have it to burn. They have more cash to burn than Sony ever does, and this is one of the things where Sony gets nervous with Microsoft because Microsoft can really throw cash, and Sony can't.
They can undercut the market really bad, right?
They really can, and in a way, they're maybe
kind
doing
of
some
are.
of that.
I mean, $299 for a console right now. Ooh.
Yeah, which is basic. I mean, that $299 S console is really so only slightly different. Not visually, it's very different. It's white, it's thinner, it's smaller. It's the smallest console I've ever made. It's got a weird vent thing on the side for heat distribution. It doesn't look like the Black Tower refrigerator thing that the X is at all. So physically, it's like different.
It's like choosing between two shitty options.
Yeah, I actually kind of.
I mean, they're nice. They're not.
I like them in their very practical approach. I think the Sony thing is cool and swervy and whatever.
I think it looks better than Sony's console.
Oh, look
I
at you.
appreciate Sony trying to do something unique. I don't want to try to elevate one by putting the other down. But if I had to pick a console of this new generation and say this is the one that I think looks the best, I think that for all we laugh at it and call it the fridge, the Series X is the best looking of the consoles.
I'm going to go on record and say I think I agree with you. I do.
I mean, we're not counting the Switch in this lineup, right?
No.
Yeah.
Whole other animal. And I mean, it should be in the conversation because obviously it affects the industry. But in terms of this launch or whatever, I tend to agree. If that PlayStation thing was black, I might feel different. If it was red, or the color's making a difference for me. Having it just be this iRobot white may not be doing it for me, or it just feels like it's kind of like a 2010 design, a little bit in a weird way. But it's fine either way. But I'm with John. I think that kind of monolithic black tower is just kind of badass. Anyway,
it also works well with a lot of living rooms too, right?
Correct.
Not everyone's going to want a light show for a machine.
Totally agree. And
it's fine.
It's also, you can put it on its back as well, or on its side, or have it going straight up, and it will look more like standard audio visual equipment under your television set, and it's not like you're going to go have some weird looking.
This little one's going to appeal to a lot of parents who aren't as into the video games but get it for their kids or whatever, because it's going to be less cluttery. It's going to look kind of okay.
Well,
I think people, I don't know if that's going to end up being the reaction, but I can see a small console appealing to the, oh, that's cute market. Like Switch, like the Switch's look is like part of its success too. Like it's a key ingredient in the whole deal. Mm-hmm. And if people I think people liked the Wii for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I don't know if they nailed it, but potentially.
Well,
they could have done a bit more with the little one to make it cute.
Well, maybe. I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with the way it looks at all. To me, it's just I'm never going to even think about it once I plug it in. The thing for me will be, and the reason I think those same parents you're talking about are going to glom onto this thing, or potentially will if Microsoft sells it right, is they're going to be told, well, this is better than the Xbox One. Oh yeah, a lot better. This is the same as this expensive one over here. The only difference is you don't have a disk drive, which means your kids aren't going to gum them up, scratch them up, and ruin them. You're just going to do it with downloads. Oh, interesting. Yeah, we have internet. Do I have to buy a new TV for this? No, not at all. You have a 1080p screen? Yeah. Oh, this is great then. This is perfect. This will be just exactly
has all the games on it.
Yeah.
But you don't even have to buy game. Like a lot of the times you look at the console and then you got to buy a couple games and that's $200 more, So it's like buy the box, pay the subscription, you're done.
You're done. Exactly. Buy the basic, even if you just sell the people on a basic Xbox Game Pass, that's enough to get going. That's Christmas night. You're going. Now, here's where it gets crazy, and here's why I think Microsoft's going to do well with this. They have two options. They're payment plans with no interest. And here's the first one. For $25 a month.
What?
For $25 a month, you get to buy an Xbox Series S with everything that entails. That's a 2-year contract for $25 a month. And that has Ultimate packed in. So Ultimate, which is a $15 value, which means, PC Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass, xCloud, stream it to your phones and your Android stuff for now, and then hopefully other stuff later.
Wait, you get the Game Pass while you're paying off the Xbox?
Oh, yeah. That whole deal.
Not on top of each other?
No.
Not 25 and like a cell phone, you pay the tab.
Nope, it is 25. And no service fees.
Oh my God, they're going to slaughter Sony.
Well, I mean, potentially. So we'll get to what I think it means Sony has to do here in a second, because there's some caveats here. But $25 a month, that means that if you actually buy it that way, even if you've got the $300 cash and you just go spend it, and you're ready to pay for Game Pass immediately thereafter, don't do that. Do this, because at the end of it, I did the math. You'll have only paid, because at the end of the 2 years, you keep the console. You only paid $240 for the console. And then you basically just, or look at it this way. You paid for Game Pass every month, and for an extra $10, the console came with it. Either way, you get the console at the end of 2 years. If you break out the money, you only spent $240 on that console instead of $299 if you go buy it raw at a Walmart.
That's
why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you do it? Now,
that's huge.
Here's the other,
and they don't care. They just want the guaranteed revenue. They want the World of Warcraft money.
They want the subs. Exactly. They want you in their ecosystem, and
they want the Netflix World of Warcraft. They want the sub money. I think the sub money is like the best money, right?
It's pretty good money.
Of all the different ways you get money, like retail sales, DLCs, I think sub money seems like the golden goose.
Yeah, we're in the post Netflix world. This is what everybody wants. Everybody, everybody wants to do something as a service, and I'm happy to support the ones that give me a lot of value for that service. Like cable gave me terrible value for my monthly dollars, and it also locked me in for long contracts and had disconnect fees and all that other bullshit. We're finally getting to a place where I can go, man, I love Netflix right now, and I am happily paying that $12 a month every month, all month. Let's do it. Let's go. But then if I'm tired of it, I'd cancel it and not do it and go over to here to HBO Max or go to Hulu. This is where we have the most choice. It may seem like there's a lot of choices, and that may seem bad to some people. I disagree. You get to do what you want to do. You make the call. And in this situation, yes, you're locking yourself into 2 years of that.
Is this worldwide?
I would assume it's for sure Europe and North America, but I can't speak for Asia.
You got to think I don't know if you've all experienced this. I mean, I had times where, I can't afford gaming as a hobby, right? Because income is, you're not working the best job, let's say.
Right.
So sometimes you're just I scraped together $80 for a game finally. You hope it's not that light, just like that. It's this is just well, whatever. I got my gaming, $25. It's an hour. It's a very small percentage of pay, even for someone with very little money, the world over. Right. So I'm oh, they're going to do really bad.
And if you're a parent and you're being told that you don't have to put down $300 to start, and you don't have to buy games because they're just going to be there. And that means AAA games, all the Halos, all the stuff the kid wants. you don't have to do anything. You spent $25 on a kid's birthday for the first month, and then or for Christmas, and then maybe you do that for the next 2 years. But that you're paying down this thing that you're not paying interest on. It's none of that. You just, when you're done, you're done. And if you decide later, ooh, the new thing's coming out, let's do that. You bump over to that one. In fact, you could even do that with the X at some point. And the rumor is they'll have an upgrade path even in between if you're not done with the 2 years. And if you're like, you know what, I'm going to go to the X, you can just bump up and you return your other one. So $35 a month for the Series X. That's the difference, is $10.
Do you think it's almost too cheap? Like maybe a bunch of Bitcoin miners are going to grab a bunch of these because the hardware is so cheap?
I mean, maybe.
Well, I mean, that was a thought that came up. Is
like it's like a $25 graphics card.
Someone from, if scarcity is bad coming out of the gate, what's to stop someone from signing up for this and then immediately turning around and selling the Xbox for a markup,
and then defaulting on the payment? I'm not encouraging fraud. I just mean from an Xbox perspective, I might be worried about people taking advantage of these things. Maybe it's not a worry.
Yeah.
My guess would be that because it's intrinsically tied to your account with the Game Pass and all of that, maybe that's how they get around it. Maybe it locks to it. I don't know, but these are all interesting questions that could potentially happen. But it is a crazy deal. And I know it's something that I'm now thinking about that I wasn't thinking about before, which is, the kind of parental nightmare that is there's a new console out. Doesn't mean the same thing to me that it used to.
Right.
We were just talking last week about, well, save that money and buy a new video card, and who cares about these consoles? But what happens when the kids say, oh, I need a new console. There's a new game. I need this. All the kids at school are playing this and I need to be a part of it. You can literally pay $25 or $35 a month, have the console in your house, and have a library of games because you have Game Pass with it, which also includes the games with gold or whatever they call it.
Right.
Like, it's crazy the amount you're getting for that $35 a month.
You're going to get even more, but we're not going to tell you what that is yet. There's even more that they announced today.
We're almost there.
We're almost there.
They keep trying to remind us of it.
we know. Yeah, we know all about a chat room. But so now I'm in this position of like, $299 is a no-brainer if I'm buying the console. If I'm doing the monthly thing, why wouldn't I just do $35 and just get the X and go all hog out? The biggest reason I don't really care that much is I'm not that concerned about 4K gaming. It's just not a big deal for me. But the storage is, and when the storage card prices come out, that'll be probably a determining factor for me. That will say to me whether or not I would just plunk down the extra $10 a month for an X rather than the 25 for the other.
Well, the thing I keep thinking about is, for $35 a month, I go out to the living room, I unhook the PS4. I could probably get away with, although we'll see, unhooking the Apple TV. Mm-hmm. I put down something that can play the Blu-rays I have, that can play the DVDs I have, that can do all the media streaming that I need for that room, that can take care of having a next-gen game console if the kids are interested in it, and benefit from the PC games that I'm going to get because the Ultimate includes the PC Pass. So we're going to actually have a matched up library between me on my PC and them in the living room. Yep. We could play games together that way if we wanted, or at the very least, we would be sharing a library and say, oh, I'm interested in this. Yeah. What is this game? And it's not a game I play. It's not a game I have. Like, we're speaking fundamentally about the same games because we're all pulling from the same place. Like,
right.
That's a lot of value for $35.
And I forgot to mention the PC thing. You're right. The PC Game Pass is included in this. So Ultimate, which is already true. If you get Ultimate now, you get PC Game Pass, you get Xbox Game Pass, you get xCloud or whatever they're calling the open beta or whatever we're at, whatever stage xCloud is right now. And then when it's ultimately out, everyone will get it if they have Ultimate. So all of that stuff. And then now announced today in one further step in EA's attempt to distance themselves from their old plan, which I'd say began when they went, all right, put all our shit back on Steam. It's fine. But the day that happened, I went, oh, what are we doing, EA? Something's going on over there. This isn't all Origin bullshit. Like, what are we doing? This now also includes, Microsoft confirmed, EA Play's subscription is rolled into Game Pass for no additional cost. So you just have it. Well, you have to sign up for it, but it's in there.
Microsoft's going to war. Like, they had to wine and dine EA, I'm sure, to get them to be on board with. It's a big move, right?
Probably, but I also think they were probably primed for it. They were, their strategies have not necessarily set the world on fire. I think they've been okay, but
if I had to guess, maybe EA Play's doing both, right? They're not going to.
They probably still have it separate. Yeah.
PlayStation will probably have an offering, and EA Games will be a part of it.
And John wrote in here, it's confirmed. I wasn't sure, but I guess that EA Play extends to their Origin PC stuff.
The article I read said it. It could be that article got it wrong. I also dove into this a little bit for a story about The Witcher 3 that's coming up and saw PC included there, and I'm hoping I'm not mixing it up there. But I do believe that it's included for PC as well. But
yeah,
I would say I'm still not 100% sure.
So what happened to me with this leak and then the confirmation was a couple of fold. But for me, mainly what came out of this for me was, oh my gosh, I think I'm getting an Xbox this generation. And I didn't care about the Xbox One at all. I never worried about it, didn't think about it. Game Pass is the only Microsoft thing I've done that entire generation. It was all PlayStation for me. But this feels game-changing, and it feels game-changing in a pretty meaningful way. Now, here's the hang-up. Here's the big problem. All of this stuff sounds really exciting until you butt up against the ceiling of it and go, oh, wait a minute, games. What are we doing with games? What's going on? And Microsoft acquired a bunch of studios. They have some amazing stuff in the works. But their launch lineup after Halo Infinite got delayed is poopski. It looks not bad, but it looks like this is not going to be a great launch time for them when it comes to brand new games. That's why I think them doubling down on these services and having this huge backlog of library and xCloud alone is going to just drive people to have plenty to do. It'll never be your things empty. What do we do with it? We can't even play a game. It's never going to be like that with this device. Those are
I think tying it to flagship games is risky depending on who you are. Like, Nintendo's always going to do it, but like,
right.
If you release your flagship game and it's not that good, or it's just kind of middle of the ground, you know what I mean? Like, what's the point in the expense?
Yeah, it needs to be great, right? Like, if it's not great, then I agree, and that's why they're delaying it, and that's the right thing to do. But from just a pure PR standpoint, it would look better if Halo was on track for the timing. Yeah, since it's not, it does open up that question of like, well, where's Sony's strengths? And Sony's strengths are in exclusives, and plenty of them, and lots of internal studios pumping out quality content at a rate that hardly anybody else out there does. And so that's still their ace in the hole in terms of drawing people to that platform. But I'm telling you right now, they are now in a position where they have to answer this price question. They're in a position where they have to answer the services question. And I don't know that they have anything teed up for that. I mean, prices they do, but
I don't think they need to. I think they're letting now that you mentioned the exclusive, I think they're just letting PlayStation have it. Like, rather than being competing, we've probably talked about this before. This is super cheap, no brainer. Even if you're just like mildly interested in Xbox, you're like, I might pick up the cheap one and get the sub, and that's all I'll do with Xbox. Like, you can fit it into a PlayStation life. Like, PlayStation will be your boutique console with your high-end exclusives, and Xbox will be like, we make games for everyone, and we have all kinds of games, and that's where you come to us when you want that kind of stuff.
And you can play them anywhere. Experience. Yeah, and you can play them anywhere. But also, I think they've got boutique stuff around the corner. That's the other thing I don't want to count out with Microsoft. They bought some really highfalutin studios that make games we like. And
they're just not leaning on it for their marketing, maybe. Like, it just doesn't seem the position they're trying to play with what they're selling.
I just don't think they have enough to do it yet. I mean, they sell it in their E3 presentations and stuff like that, but they just don't have enough games done to do much with it. So I think
also don't have the legacy. When you look at the flagship titles that Sony has, granted, for a lot of these it's not a long legacy, but like, I think of the benchmarks, the things that made me say I'm justified in owning this PS4.
Right.
And you have Horizon Zero Dawn, which I now have on PC.
Yeah.
You've got Spider-Man, which Spider-Man's going to be on PlayStation for the foreseeable future. That's just the reality. But there was no guarantee that game was going to be good.
It's also there's also some rumors about PC, but yeah, you make a good point. There was no guarantee it would be good.
God of War, which has a huge, long Sony legacy, so it has the benefit of a long-standing history.
Right.
And you have The Last of Us, which granted doesn't have a long legacy, but it's also kind of tied to Uncharted and Naughty Dog and all of that, and they have the legacy.
Yeah.
So they have more of a history that you can look back on and go, oh yes, look at what a benchmark history the studio has. Microsoft's now trying to build that, and that's a tough spot to be in. But for me, the temptation is still there to get a PS5 because I know a Spider-Man game is going to come out. And I want to play Spider-Man and all this stuff. But I look at it and I go, you know what? I can wait.
Yeah.
And I can maybe get that console at half price if I absolutely have to. And Sony, we talked about last week, is considering putting more on PC because they realized, we can have our cake and eat it too. If we release on our console and then we do a PC port, we make a lot of money.
Even if it's a year later.
Buy it twice.
Right.
I own 2 copies of Horizon Zero Dawn because I bought it on PS4 and I bought it on PC.
Right.
So, this is one of those things where I think they'll start to think that way too. And that's also why I feel really good about the investing in a video card. But
yeah, that's the other thing is, but see, like even after that Nvidia stuff last week, I was like, how are these console companies even gonna make me care? And they made me care, and they did it with value here. Like this is just really good base level value, and you know what else? There's a sturdiness to what they're selling me, and I don't mean. Here's what I mean. Like literally, I think of an Xbox controller as sturdy, and not anything I have to be dainty with. And those consoles look like sturdy effing towers. Here's a tower. Bonk. Play that thing. Put it through its paces. And I already know I like the service because I use it on PC, and I love Game Pass on PC. Being able to sync between the two, play between the two, the cloud service stuff, have all of that land in there, and still only spend $240 for that one console or a little more for the other one over 2 years. It feels kind of no-brainy. So then Microsoft, let's say Microsoft turns around and next week gets on mic and says, all right, here's what we're doing. Release day, same day, they even say. Let's say they do that. I don't know if they will, but let's say it's the same release day. And they say, and our consoles are also going to be not too bad priced, except our high-end one's $699. There's no way that thing's going to be the same price. No way that thing's $499, okay? And the one without the disc, there's no way that's only $299. It's going to be like $399 or $450, and then the high-end one at like $699, somewhere in that range. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, Sony comes out and says, we're matching prices. $499, $299. Boom. All right, big deal, right? That's good. That's good. That means that competition drove them to make their console more affordable, and now suddenly you're like, well, geez, I'll just get the Sony one, I guess. But will they have a thing where I can pay it off in 2 years, or people that want to do that? And have a service that's actually more than just PlayStation Plus? No.
Yeah, even if they did have a payment plan, PlayStation Plus is not the same value as Game Pass.
No.
I have been a PlayStation Plus subscriber. I've gotten use out of it. With having kids and their interests in the house, that has certainly made it more of a value than it was before. But I don't ever look at my PlayStation Plus membership and go, hot dang, I'm glad I have that. More often than not, I look at it and go, well, I don't really want to lose the games I got. Maybe something new will come out. It's begrudging. It's a begrudging payment. Sony says, we're going to take your money. And I go, frick, right.
Yeah.
They are. Okay.
Yeah.
Crap.
I
don't feel good about it. Every time I pay my Game Pass thing, I'm like, look at how much money I saved by having this thing. I'm going to pat myself on the back.
Right. The other thing, too, is all those games you're getting, it's like, oh, here we are 2 years later, and I'm getting this copy of whatever. Very rarely is it ever anything new. Fall Guys is like the most recent example I can think of, something that was like brand new. But again, smaller indie thing. You're never going to get the AAA titles brand new. Xbox Game Pass, day one, you get Gears of War 5. Day one, you get Halo whichever. Whatever launch day it is. And yes, I'm still getting that over on this PC. But now you've given me a really affordable way to grow out with the service and not hardly spend a penny more to do it. It kind of just makes crazy sense. I don't know. To me, this is a really, really strong sale. If Sony comes back with price matching, again, I doubt it, but if they did, they would really need to up the service content. And right now, I don't see how they do that. I also don't see Sony having the pipeline in place to do a monthly 2-year no interest buy our console over time solution. I just can't see them doing it. They could.
Yeah, the monthly fee is a real left field kind of thing. I don't know. I wonder if Sony knew about it ahead of time or not.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, I want to know internally, what are they talking about right now? That's why I love this time. Like, people are probably perceiving me as being, I was overboard about PlayStation 5 and excited about it, and I'm overboard excited about this since this announcement. What I'm mostly overboard about is I love watching the industry from this perspective and seeing this competition play out. Every time this happens, every generation, it's one of my favorite spectator sports. I just love it. I love seeing what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. It's almost less about the games for me than it is about this fight. But I also enjoy the games, obviously.
And they do it that way on purpose too, I think, on some level, because this is now their 5th or 6th time up to bat. They always seem to do it at this. There's nothing stopping them from doing it at different times if they really wanted to.
Right.
Like they're clearly doing it with intent at this point, right? So
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think if you are watching that sport and enjoying it, then it's what it's there for too, in a way.
It's fun. But I can tell you right now, today, this seems like a hell of a value. I'm really curious about what Sony says. There was rumors they were going to do it today, and they didn't. It was going to be some surprise announcement. It didn't happen. They don't need to. I was talking to Tom Merritt on Daily Tech News Show today, and he said that he wouldn't expect them to say anything until right around the 22nd. And I said, why? He says, because that's pre-order day for these Xbox boxes. And
maybe I'll wait.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to say anything until the 21st when everyone's all ready to point their wallets toward Microsoft, and then them going, but what about this? And then blow our minds and have us go, oh, and point our wallets that way.
Is that you too?
Yep, he froze for me as well.
Oh,
we lost you at, but what about?
Oh, jeez. Okay, hold on. Everyone,
You're back, though.
Oh, am I?
You're all good.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's fine now. It was just a hiccup.
That's a weird hiccup. Oh, yeah, I lost about 170 frames.
So what did you say? What about?
What if Sony comes back with some thing to blow our mind on the 21st is what I'm saying. What if they blow our minds and now we're spending money that direction. See? So
they could. The competition is what makes this happen.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think we're in this boat with Microsoft if the Xbox One hadn't been what it was at launch. And so, their competition with each other, they get competitive. I wish they could forego the hubris of the year after a successful year. I find it funny that both companies have fallen into that, where PlayStation did the PS2 and then they came out with the PS3 and get another job to afford it. And then Microsoft did we think the Xbox One is going to replace everything in your entertainment center. It's going to be your DVR. It's going to be everything. We don't think of it as a game console. It's an entertainment machine. And you're just like, oh, gosh, come on, guys. So I could do without the hubris years, but them competing benefits us overall.
I agree. It feels like Sony's got less hubris this time, even though they're in a leadership position, and it feels like Microsoft's very, very hungry to
do what
it takes. So
I wonder what Henry Cavill thinks. He's probably like, consoles.
Yeah.
I've got 10 of the latest NVIDIA cards, just in my refrigerator. They're holding my food up.
That's Superman money, dude. You got that to spend.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing with him though. You guys see that World of Warcraft Arthas poster floating around? That's like a fake movie poster with him as Arthas.
Oh yeah.
No.
It looks great. It's not real.
No, I wanted it till I saw it, and then I was like, oh, I want it.
Yeah, poster. Hold on.
Because I always said the dude who played Jaime Lannister would make a really good Arthas.
Oh yeah,
and he would. Great. But I saw Henry Cavill as him, and then I was like, I'll take this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, that's the thing about being kind of like a nerd, like geek enthusiast, but also having a super chiseled body. Like every role is made for you. You're like, he's a good actor, and he's chiseled, and he likes all the video game stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
He's a nice guy too. He seems like a real cool dude,
and he's a great guy.
Yeah. I like nice guys. Nice guys are my favorite guys. All right, so there it is, Chad. I'm showing you now. Bo, I put it in our chat if you want to see it. But it's I have to scroll around. But isn't that cool?
He's perfect.
Yeah,
he's Arthas.
I mean, he's basically Geralt.
We're gonna have Henry Cavill in our lives until we die. He's gonna be in everything now.
Yeah, he's the Witcher in that shot, obviously photoshopped and all that. But
I mean, he's got the jawline. He's got the Warcraft jawline.
He has to reload his arms just to punch somebody. He's awesome.
It's pretty rad. I like it a lot. I hope somebody.
Oh my!
Call that guy.
That actually
the Warcraft movie, you guys.
That was the thing that bummed me out the most about the most recent Mission Impossible movie. Spoilers. Is that Henry Cavill was a bad guy in it. Yeah. So I was like, man, I would have let him come back for every single one of these. Would have been great because his character was also pretty good too.
Yeah.
Of this like very intense, very well trained guy, but also kind of a dunce at the same time, like not quite as good.
In some ways, he was James Bondy. In other ways, he was just pure muscle. In other ways, he was like a psychopath. Like that was an interesting character. My favorite part of it was that scene in the bathroom where he's going to fight and he's kind of like locking his arms.
Yeah, it's the reloading his arms like guns.
Yeah, my favorite part of that scene though is when it starts. Oh no, yeah, when it starts, he has no shirt pockets.
Yeah.
By the time he gets 3 feet closer to Tom Cruise, he has a shirt pocket.
Yeah, he reloads his arms and pockets appear. Yeah. Like these are the powers that he has.
Yeah, if you've never seen that clip, repeat it on YouTube or something, you should go find it because it's funny as crap to me.
He reloads his arms like guns and changes the dynamics of his shirt.
Yeah, it was clearly like, you know, some digital fix for something, but it's if there was no pocket, if the pocket glitch hadn't happened or whoever missed it, you'd never know. Like there's nothing about that moment where you went, oh, CGI is involved, except a pocket appears for no reason. It's really weird. He's got pocket power. That's right. Anyway, so to sum it up, $299 or $240 if you do the 2-year thing. I didn't do the math on the X, but it's also less money for that X if you pay monthly overall for the 2 years. And EA Play bundled in there. Whatever you may think of EA Play, just having it for free, that's a nice extra bonus. That also includes everything about Game Pass, including the PC side, including all the streaming, the xCloud stuff, all of it for ridiculously low amounts of money, I think, for how we expect games and new consoles to be. So Sony, let's see what you got. It's your move. I'm excited and anxious to hear what you say because I wants to know. All right. Speaking of The Witcher, let's talk about this for a second. Oh, John, did you finish the DLC? Or are you still picking away? What are you doing there?
I did. I finished. I'm done with The Witcher, and what a wonderful experience that was.
How do you feel about? It'll be free, so it doesn't. I guess you'll take it no matter what. But how do you feel like a free, updated version of The Witcher coming as a free package on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S? How do you feel about that?
Makes me feel like I should have waited a bit longer to finish The Witcher. But, I'm still excited about it. I mean, it's a cool thing. So basically, they are going to be putting out a up-resed, it's going to have ray tracing, better resolution, just a bunch of updates to The Witcher 3. It's going to be coming out on PS5 and the Xbox Series X. If you already own the game for the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One or the PC, you are going to get a free upgrade to this version of the game.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, it's a 5-year-old game, so I don't, it's not that big a deal, but they don't have to do it for free. And they are.
No, they don't. Yeah. And also the upgraded version is also coming out for PC, but
right.
Man, if you don't own Witcher 3 for PC, I don't care even if you're sitting there going, but I don't have any interest in The Witcher. That game has been like $5 at times. If you don't own that game for PC,
yeah, you're insane.
Shame on you.
Shame on you. You should have had it from launch, but if you don't have it from launch, you should have had it for $5 during a sale. It's one of the greatest games ever made.
That's a new one.
Launch Haven.
$5 for The Witcher 3 is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's almost offensive.
It is offensive. It's one of the greatest games ever made. And one would assume that whatever Cyberpunk looks like when it hits in a month and a half, whatever. Or no, that's also November, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's November.
And that thing's not day and date on the new consoles, but it should run on both new consoles. And of course PC, right? Shouldn't it? It should.
I don't know.
Because
they've confirmed that they're going to put a version out for the updated consoles. I don't know if they've said that it will be able to run on them out the gate.
Well, that thing is 100% a PC
Probably,
game,
right? Though, because like they were designing it for the 2000 series graphics cards on PC. Like,
I would hope so.
I feel like the consoles are a little more, a little closer to their PC counterparts than in iterations past. Although I don't know what.
For sure, no, that's actually true. But the question is more because so here's the promise. At least Microsoft. I don't know if Sony's confirmed this for sure, but Microsoft's like any previous Xbox One title will run on a Series X or S. Like that's just how it's going to work. They'll run. So backwards compatible, 100% with games you already own. If that's true, then if you buy Cyberpunk for Xbox One, you should be able to play it on the new console. It may be for Xbox One, but it should be backwards compatible to play on the new console. And I'm assuming Sony, same thing with PS4, although they've been less wordy about what they're going to do with backwards compatibility. It seems like they're kind of stopping at PS3 and nothing from PS3 and back. So maybe just PS4 games.
The Xbox feels a little more unlocked than the PlayStation will be.
I guess that's a way of putting it. I mean, it's not so much locked.
Not fully unlocked because you're not using it like a PC,
right?
The Xbox like a PC, but it seems like it's trying to go after that, right? The idea that everything is playable everywhere. We just want you to be in bed with Microsoft and Xbox.
So Houdini7 says Sony confirmed the PS4 games will be compatible and playable on a PS5. So in theory, PlayStation 4 version will be playable on the 5 the minute it comes out. Because it comes out later than the Xbox. We don't know about the Sony's yet. But the point is, you should be able to do it if you want to. PC players are just going to get it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
I'm going to get it.
That's where I want to play it.
Cyberpunk, I'm going to get it.
Yeah, you're going to get. That's on the box on the back.
Cyberpunk, I'm going to get it.
I'm going to get it.
Jagger.
Yeah. Wow. Core podcast, John Jagger.
Yeah.
I'm going to get
it. John Jagger. I'm going to get it.
I'm sure that'll help sales. Because they're
they should really put that with all the 9s and 10s they're gonna put in that. You know when they do the second trailer and it's got all the 9s and they should put John's face on it. He goes, "I'm gonna get it.
I'm gonna get it." I like that a lot. Of course,
they're a lot of copies.
They're also going to do free updates, a little like The Witcher's doing. But this was already announced too. Cyberpunk will get free updates to the new consoles for better fidelity, graphics, frame rate. Take advantage of the new hardware. Those updates are going to be free to anyone who buys it on the previous console. So the theory goes, let's say you're getting a PlayStation 5. You get a PlayStation 5 earlier in the month, later in the month you pick up Cyberpunk, you play it on your PS5. It's still the PS4 version, but it looks fine and it's playing on a PS5 just fine. And then next March, they release the PlayStation 5 version of the game proper. You get a free update and boom, you own it. That's how that's supposed to go. And Xbox, same thing. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on.
Well, it sounds like a good freaking deal. Like, I think that's a cool thing that they're pushing for is the free update. And, I think it just makes sense. It's one of those things that when they said it, I was like, oh, that makes sense that you would do that, but I'd never thought of it before.
Right. And the compatibility line.
It's in tight.
Right. I think it was a bad one. We got so much smoke, although today was better because the wind blew it out. Our hurricane winds here in Salt Lake City that have never happened in my lifetime. Blew all the smoke out that California's been sending us. Dude, we live in an apocalypse. Everything's just what's with the weather? How many hurricanes at once? Freaking Salt Lake City's either on fire, highest heat ever, lowest temperature drop in the history of recorded history, and wind blowing hard enough to blow 300-year-old trees out of the ground and into somebody's yard.
Maybe we should make some Xboxes then.
when your trending articles is compare contrasts of real life versus Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
You're in a place where you're like, how did we get here?
Yeah. Vegas
looks... The big difference there'll be Xboxes flying in the wind eventually because they sold so many that you just get hit in the head. You're like, bunk!
Yeah.
Another damn Xbox S!
We'll just litter the world with them. They'll be everywhere. But when you go in 2049, when you go to I'm thinking a lot about that movie because that new Dune movie trailer came out today, and I love the director and I love his Blade Runner movie. I absolutely loved Sicario and Arrival, and he just makes great movies. So I have full faith in that dude and that adaptation. Totally stoked. But when they're in Vegas in Blade Runner 2049 and he's hanging out with Harrison Ford, that kind of red air, can't see too far, but everything looks irradiated. The pictures I'm seeing coming out of like LA right now, they all look like that.
Yeah, it's exactly. I was seeing literally you could swipe through and it was like California, Blade Runner, California,
Yeah.
Blade Runner. And you only really knew because you had seen the movie.
Right.
You're like, well, that's the movie.
Right.
In this one, there's a flying car. In this one, no flying car. Therefore.
Right. Oh, no, we had all the flying cars. They were just here in Salt Lake City overnight. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Of the wind.
Had a few flying cars, a couple of Hostess donut trucks on their sides.
We just needed somebody to stick their hand in something and pull it out with a bunch of bees on it.
Yeah. And the irony is the video game I finished on the windiest day, which I'll tell you about here in a minute. What else we got? Nintendo announced a lot of Mario stuff. It's a little controversial. It's for their 35-year Mario celebration. There's the 3D, what do they call it? 3D, shoot. It's right here.
It's Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
All-Stars, that's it. So if you remember the old All-Stars game that came out for the Super NES, it was all the previous 8-bit stuff, but up-resed. Everybody loved it. We were all excited. The true Super Mario 2 thing was there, so the lost levels were there. All that stuff is a big deal. This seemed like an opportunity to do that, and what we're getting is fine, but we're getting basically a sort of up-resed version of Mario 64, a great classic game. I really wish they were doing more to it than just up-resing it, but it's still 4x3. They didn't even go widescreen with it. Super Mario Sunshine, which I like a lot, but that's a controversial game in the Mario series. And my kids loved it. That's probably why I loved it, because we all played it together. But there's that, and then Super Mario Galaxy 1, not 2. 2 is not included for who knows why. Sell it later, I guess. 3 fine games in this package, but not a lot else, and it doesn't feel like it really, I don't know, it feels like a little, this is the most important part. It's coming out, and it's coming out soon, but you only have until March to buy it, and then it goes into some fake, like, Disney style vault.
Yep.
It's complete
limited
horseshit.
Quantities of this digital product. We limited.
Yeah.
We can only push so many bytes of this data, and then it shuts down.
Yeah,
forever.
which is funny because this kind of made sense back in the day if it was a VHS tape and you're like, oh, we're not going to get Aladdin for a while. Better get it while it getting's good until there's a whole new format. We're never going to see it again. I kind of got it, right? That artificial scarcity sort of made sense because you really did stop manufacturing something. Now, yes, they're cartridges. And okay, I guess you're stopped making those. But the digital version of the game, they're going to stop that the same day. What the hell is that? Like, that's just a digital stuff. It's ones and zeros.
So it's because the physical media is limited series? There's a physical version of this?
Yeah, there's a physical version, and then there's all their games. Sense. Like all their games.
I mean, maybe they picked the wrong game for it, but collectors value that kind of stuff. Like, it's...
Yeah, but it's just creating it artificially, isn't it? It's like...
I mean, I wouldn't do it for this product. It seems like it should be something everyone enjoys, so it seems a little off. But like people do, Magic cards all the time. They reprint classic cards. They're doing it now as a thing. They'll reprint 200 copies of a particular card for collectors, and they won't devalue the cards too much because they're not releasing too many. And the limited aspect of it is collectors.
I get that, but why limit the? Couldn't you do that and still keep the digital version of the game open and available on the store? Like, what's the difference?
Because the part of the value is like the legend or the chasing of it, right? Like a lot of these Magic cards are playable in your decks, but if you don't have them, you can't play them, and that's why they have their value. And so I think, like, I'm not saying this is a good idea. I'm just saying I get it.
No, I get it. You're right. I think everything you're saying is right. Comic books do this sometimes, and
it's not because of the digital thing, but it's for the physical thing. And maybe a little cynically, it's because the kind of customers that will fall for this kind of thing maybe aren't who's not aware in 2020 that everything's ones and zeros now on a PC, but I'm sure they're still out there, so
I guess so.
I don't know if that's a thing. That's a more cynical view of it, but
I do wish they weren't, and I'll just say it, half-assing it as much as they are.
Yeah.
Like, they're Super Mario All-Stars, which they're using the name from,
right,
was a remake of those games with better graphics. You got all those games, but the sprites were better. Like, they did work on those games. This, they're literally just going, well, here's 3 3D games, and not even all of them. Like, why isn't Galaxy 2 on there? That's the other thing. Not only did they do some work on the original All-Stars, but they also gave you the Lost Levels, which had never come out in America.
Right.
So there was also like there's brand new. And here they're just like, here's a couple of ports. And guess what? A music player. Like, that's the other thing. If you go to their website and click like, hey, what's the cool thing about this? It's like, it plays on your Switch and it has a music player.
Yeah, and you can put your Switch to sleep and hear the music play.
It's like, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. Mario 64 is a phenomenal game. Mario Sunshine is got really good music.
It's a good game. It's fine.
But that's the game that I wish that they would do some work on, because that's the game that could use some. It has a better draw distance. Like, I remember playing Mario Sunshine and they'd say, oh, hey, go collect the red coins. And you'd be like, all right, you're running across a beam. And then all of a sudden a red coin appears out of nowhere because it couldn't draw the entire level. Like, is that going to be fixed, or is that going to still be a problem? It'll probably still be a problem, would be my guess, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Galaxy is a phenomenal game, but why isn't Galaxy 2 on there?
Yeah. That's weird.
I'm also really curious what they're going to do with the Wiimote stuff for Galaxy, because there was a lot of waggle your Wiimote at the TV and pick up star bits. And in the video for it, they show the star bit waggling, but you're not going to be doing that on a Switch Lite or anything.
Not on a Lite. I mean, you could use, I suppose you could shake the whole Switch using its gyro, but I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that at all. So
I'm
yeah,
also curious how Sunshine will control, because Sunshine had the GameCube pressure sensitive triggers where you push it down a little, it does one thing, but you push it down all the way and it does something else.
Oh, right.
So
forgot about that.
I'm curious how that game is going to play.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's questions like that. We don't know. And like, if it's as half-assed as some of the presentation looks, you worry about some of those control issues. And also, I don't know. I wanted 2. 2's great. I really like Galaxy 2, so I'm bummed that Galaxy 2 is not on there. Other couple things they mentioned or talked about, they're doing a new Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch, which really is just a tiny little console that just runs Super Mario 1 and 2. It's not, there's some Game & Watch stuff in there, but it's not like the old black and white Game & Watch gameplay. It's Mario. It's straight up one of those Mario games, or 2 of those Mario games. So that's a thing. They're selling that for like $60. That'll sell like crazy because nostalgia heads are just going to love that. Again, limited edition. Those aren't around forever. So you got to get those when you can get them. The other thing they're going to re-release is Super Mario 3D World, which premiered on the Wii U. That's a really good Mario game, so I am actually excited about that. But this is just another, here's up-res Mario game now on the thing. And that's fine, but it's not, I don't know. This is like them putting a Zelda remake out, or I don't know. Like, it's just a remaster.
Said that one would be enhanced, and they're saying it has something called Bowser's Fury added to it, which is extra content. So they're doing something. Yeah. I don't know if that's it, but they're doing something.
When you said Bowser's Fury, the video I'm watching where it shows it, literally popped up Bowser's Fury right then on the screen. That's crazy.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, well done, John. Well done.
Yeah.
What is that? Do you know what that is?
What? Serendipity.
Bowser's Fury.
Oh, Bowser's Fury? I thought you meant, what does it mean when the thing happens when John says it? I don't know. Well, that's the problem. Is they haven't really said what Bowser's Fury. I assume it's more levels and, just more content. That's already a really good game. It was my favorite thing on my Wii U. They're also putting out, and again, this is the weird bit. I think this will change, personally. But they've made like a Tetris 99 style battle game out of the Mario games where you just are sending...
Like running in all the windows? Oh, weird.
And they're sending all this shit at you, like monsters you got to fight. And it's basically a battle royale where only one Mario is left after the thing. That comes out and is only playable until March. So that comes out the 1st of October and only exists on the device until March. And then it goes away, which I don't understand. If you're going to have something like Tetris 99, they still support the hell out of that. That's an ongoing concern. People love that game. Why?
I assume there's a pro scene even.
Yeah, there is.
But it's like, as soon as people like, oh, I'm a professional Super Mario Bros. Player. This is all. What? I can't play it anymore.
I guarantee that'll be something cool like that. It'll be so much fun. They can't make that one time limited. That sucks.
Like, imagine a game's done quick or something like that, getting the fastest speed runners, all 35, and watching all 35 try to beat each other at a speed run.
Yeah.
Like, there's potential. Why is it limited?
I don't know. It's really weird. Nintendo just does weird things. And then they got this thing I'm still trying to understand. It's an actual remote-controlled car with Mario in it.
Oh, the Mario Kart thing.
Yeah.
The augmented reality Mario Kart.
Yeah, and it's driving around your house and you're playing it on your Switch and you're seeing it like it's a Mario game, but it's in your house. It looks really rad.
There's probably a camera in the back of the chassis of the vehicle.
Yeah, it's in the car.
Like, maybe.
Yeah, it's
and
in
then
the car.
it animates the Mario part.
Yeah, the Mario part is he's actually a physical thing on it, but in the
driver's animated. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in the game, because you're not watching your car spin around, or you're doing both. How do you do both? I guess you do it all through the screen. Yeah. This is like a training program for drone operators.
Yeah,
like military drone operators as children. Is like they're sending this out, and whichever kids are the best at this thing, they're gonna get drafted in the military.
It looks really cool.
That's what it looks like to me.
It looks cool. I don't know how. I mean, maybe it's like the worst gimmick ever, but I kind of like that they do weird stuff like this. So,
this is amazing. Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, that's a cool AR application. People, I mean, I had those. You know, those gun things with the cars that spin around and it's all on the track. Like, if I could have had a car that I could just drive anywhere in a video game, like,
oh man,
even my child brain right now is like.
I'm really afraid for the kids here to learn that this exists.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm ready to turn my house
ready
over
for Mario Kart flash mobs. Like if this becomes a thing, you know, Pokemon Go was just like 100 people have blocked off the highway because they're all racing their Mario Karts in real roads. Oh no, they won't block off the highway because part of the danger will be the real cars coming down the road.
Yep,
it's perfect.
Yep,
it's perfect. No one will die.
It is perfect. Yeah. John, don't show the kids, is what I'm saying.
I don't know if I want the kids to know.
Just don't show them.
Am I scaring you, John? With all the fun applications?
No, I just don't want the kids to know about it.
Yeah, because they'll drive you crazy.
To turn my house over to it.
Yeah, because they would need to make a track. That's the other thing. This video assumes a lot about space for a lot of people.
Here's the thing, man. An enterprising individual could buy up 100 of these and make a little go-kart thing for people to come and do it outside the house.
That's a decent point.
100 kids, all with switches.
And this appears to be something that goes on in perpetuity and not locked into some window of voltage. So it seems like you can use this thing because you got to buy the car.
Good. I would think that they would sell. I mean, maybe I'm just immediately going into commercialism here, but like you could get maybe other racers would be something they could sell later. Like now you can get a Yoshi kart, and now you can get a Donkey Kong kart.
Yeah.
Because right now it looks like it's just Mario and Luigi.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but that's not who I play.
No.
I play that game.
I play Wario. He's going to win.
I play the Koopa Troopa typically.
Yeah.
Or Yoshi.
Oh, Yoshi freaking sucks. I just want to destroy him. I hate him so bad.
No, but Yoshi's great.
And just want to, am I going to win? And knock him off the thing. Freaking hate him.
He's happy all the time.
I love Wario. Wario's my guy.
I guess I'm the only Peach player here.
Are you a Peach player? A Peach main?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I'm a Peach main.
That's awesome.
What's the Peach lookalike or the unpeach?
Sandra or Belina. What is it? Thumbelina?
Karen. Probably Karen.
Karen.
Anyways, I'm a Peach man.
There's the Rosalina from the Galaxy games, and then there's Daisy.
Oh, Daisy. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's Daisy. Yeah.
Daisy was the one that the Donkey Kong stole, right?
No, that was who's the mayor of New Donk City?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah,
right. She's the mayor now, and she sings and dances and stuff.
Pauline.
Yeah.
Pauline.
I understand how Bo, who does not have a Switch, and me just casually dropping something like, "Oh, she's the mayor of New Donk City," is great information for him. But I assure you, that sentence made sense.
It totally did.
I just thought it was funny. It was just a ridiculous pile of syllables. She used to be the mayor of New Donk City.
I mean, New Donk City's already insanity in a bucket. Like, that place is so weird. The fact that they're real humans standing around. It's so weird. What a weird thing.
Mario just jumps on them and they just go, "Brr."
Just go, whoa. What was that?
This little cartoon man jumped on
I
me.
love Odyssey. Like, that's one of my favorite games ever, but man, that whole town thing is weird for sure. Anyway, more on that as we know. Coming out soon, by the way. This stuff all hits well, not all of it, but the 3D thing and my decision whether I care to get it or not happens in like a week. So 2 weeks. So pretty quick. Happy birthday, Mario. You don't look an age over 35 because that's literally what you are. All right. Now this. Games we played this week. This is sort of an addition to some other stuff I've been playing. I continue to playing Spiritfarer. That game's great. Just delightful, wonderful thing. And but I poked my head in some other stuff. I finished Mad Max, the 2015 open world Mad Max game.
Did it.
I beat it. I have not 100%ed it yet. I think I still am gonna, but I'm giving a little space because I just did this. And I got to say, I loved the ending of that thing. I think that story ended up way better than I expected, and very Mad Maxy, very true to the source material. And it was a very harsh thing happened, and that's how it goes in his life. And I really liked the ending of that. So let's say Scrotus is dead, and I'm triumphant. Although R.I.P. the magnum opus. It's a long story. You have to play it. Anyway, that game's great. I'm glad I finally did it. Started playing a game called Star Renegades. I don't even know where to start with this. So take rad looking Genesis era kind of graphic style, but then give it a whole bunch of crazy lighting and effects and stuff that you would never see in a Genesis game. Like it's clearly modern effects added, but also to that kind of pixelated 16-bit era looking stuff. Add crazy cool like techno bash music. Throw in some sweet 90s stuff. There's an anime intro to this, so you guys would like it.
What is that supposed to be?
What do you mean by that?
It's got it's turn-based combat like JRPG style, except with a bit of a twist. It's very fast combat, but also is sort of true to that turn-based stuff. Crazy abilities, different characters to pick up and level up. It's all RPG stuff. You drop gear.
I like the look of this a lot.
The look is crazy, John. You've never seen anything quite like it. The combination of visual stuff happening in this game, kind of mind-altering stuff. And I don't know why it grabbed me like it did, but man, I think everybody, once they see it, they're just like, oh my gosh. Also, it's just a really good game under the hood, so I'm going to highly recommend it. It just came out. I was told about it by the developer who knows us or knows me and just said, hey, I don't know if you've had a look at this. I heard you guys are working on it, but I don't know much about it. And normally when something like that happens, sometimes people send me games and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is all right. I'm sure their third or fourth effort will be worth it.
This popped up in my news on Steam when I logged in yesterday.
This thing's way cooler. And if you want to go try it, it's on Game Pass.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's easy.
Yeah.
Way to sell me.
Yeah. I didn't even know. I had a Steam code is what I used, but I'm super impressed with it. And it's got all the stuff I like. It's just
good.
everything I like. Everything I like is in it.
It looks
even the anime intro I liked. And the story's good, and it's like got some really cool writing. It's like the 90s just slammed into like a more modern graphic. I don't know. The graphics are crazy.
Challenging tactical roguelite RPG. So
Yeah.
is there runs in this game?
Yeah, you basically go as far and as long as you can and retain. If you die, you retain stuff and go for a better run the next time. And it's always a little mixed up. It's never the same. So a lot of procedural generation stuff. So far, none of my dudes have died. Oh no, one of them died in combat, but they get revived after if you live through the encounter. But I fought some wicked. It's like all the cool robot art you ever drew in school that you wanted to see come to life. You're fighting that stuff, like just these badass, like ridiculous robot creatures and aliens and stuff. And you guys, and the anime intro thing is actually really cool. It's very cool. It's very cool.
Here's an interesting review. Tell me what you think, Scott.
All right, go.
Imagine combining the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor with Darkest Dungeons resting and exploration, Battle Chasers combat, and Fire Emblem style relationships. All wrapped up.
That's about right.
Relationships?
Yeah.
Hot damn, I'm in.
Yeah.
You got me.
Oh yeah, I forgot how much you love relationships. This thing has this thing when you
you wuss.
Yeah.
Relationship lover.
When you camp, so when you're it gets to be nighttime or whatever, and you camp, you go into this mode where you're all around a campfire, and you have drops you've picked up throughout other combat that are in the form of cards. The only time the cards really play a role. And the cards are like, give this to a friend on the team, they will gain 25 points to permanent health, but also they will like you this many more points. You will gain in the relationship because they'll like that you did this for them. So you'll have these little conversations after you give them the card. You'll see their health go up, and he'll say something back to you, back to him, and you might even start getting combo bonuses because your relationship is building. Suddenly you'll hit a threshold, almost like a level up, and it's like, oh, well, this robot healer guy can now heal me for 25 points more when I'm hurt because we're pals now. He's going to heal me more. And then the third character might get some whole other thing. And all three of them can give these cards around during your camp session.
But do you kiss?
I don't know if there's that.
Do that stuff.
It's like, no.
I haven't, but I don't know.
Under the bed.
I probably don't know. I have no idea. But
that's all. I just want to know if the robot man and I are doing well enough. Can I kiss the robot?
You might be able to kiss the robot man. I think
we stumbled on a new Twitter account idea.
Yeah.
Can you kiss? It's like, can you pet the dog? No, can you kiss the robot?
Can you kiss the robot? You cannot kiss the robot.
It does some stuff really smart. Like some of it's like, okay, so this robot healer guy I got he doesn't even heal. He just gives your shields back if you lose shields because it's all very sci-fi. I like it in those games where you have a healer to sort of counter all the damage and stuff. But what I don't like is that they're limited in how many times they can heal. Like if they have MP or, some other finite resource that runs out all the time. This robot is just a robot who's good at putting shields up. So when you need him, he can do it. And you don't have to go, oh, I'm almost out of shield juice. Because there's a lot of other juices to worry about. So worry about those, and some of the more basic ones, just let the combat flow and feel good and feel like you're getting something done. And it's hard to explain, but it's working for me. I really like it.
The juice management in this game is good.
Yeah. I would agree. And there's all kinds of stuff like, this is good, Bo, because it's like DM initiative, sort of. If you're fighting a big mech, let's say, the three of your characters, big mech, and there's a bar up top, and the big mech land somewhere in the middle of this bar, and consider the bar like a timeline. It's not real time. You still have to turn-base this thing, but he's somewhere in the middle. And you might see that your big sword lady, if you use this ability, she's going to pop in just before his position. That means she's going to get first strike. But if she does cleave, it might push her back here after he's acted. And so strategically, you're like, I really need to act first. And then you remember, my shooter guy's got a stun. So if I can get him to hit first, he'll stun the mech, then her cleave will still hit first because he'll be stunned. He can't act until the end of the round. So there's this like initiative system that you can really get your head around and kind of be strategic with that I thought at first was going to just give me a headache, but it's great. It's super cool. And
is that the bar that's at the top of what I'm seeing?
Yes, that's the bar. You see the little character icons up there and stuff.
Yeah, it seems like they move around.
They do. Yeah, okay. So some of the abilities are like push them back, or which basically just delays them.
I imagine you could do it yourself. You have a powerful shot, then you're slowing down your rate of turn.
Right. Okay. You've got ultimates you can pop off if you've all done the right stuff, and there's combos you can do with each character. There's area of effect abilities. There's like all that stuff, and they animate it all. It all looks crazy while it's happening, but doesn't overstay its welcome like a lot of those RPGs did, where you just wait forever for an animation to finish. It's all very quick, but really smooth and clean. The overworld stuff is cool. Somehow they gave 16-bit graphics like a weird like 3D. I don't know how to explain it. Like
I see what you mean. They're on a 3D plane. It looks like.
Yeah, it's great.
It's not just 2D. It's like 2D sprites on a 3D plane because when there's camera angles, it looks like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, a little bit.
And it's a shift like camera angle here, like this, like
Oh. And you don't so much control that stuff as you just sort of get to see it move around, and it's so cool looking. I really, 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 really like it. It's just smart, fast to get in. I think those guys made a hell of a thing, and I'm going to keep playing that. So Star Renegades.
Star Renegades.
Yeah, it's also got a badass.
Say it a bunch because the chat's been asking nonstop. What game?
Oh yeah,
Star Renegades.
Renegades. Steam, Game Pass. I think Switch may have it, or if not, it's coming. Oh, I would love that on the Switch.
I'm downloading Star Renegades right now.
Good.
Yeah, I think I'm going to buy it. A lot of the reviews are invoking Darkest Dungeon. Although, what are the negatives of it? Just extreme ones.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be some of those. But I like the Darkest Dungeon part, and I forgot about the Nemesis system. You do have this weird It is that. I didn't think about it, but it is totally the Nemesis system built into this thing, and it's an odd mix that works for me, and also it is an eyegasm, which is a gross sounding thing to say. Speaking of eyegasms, I also picked up Control Ultimate Edition. It was on sale on Steam, so I thought I should finally play this game. I have a 2080 RTX card. Why am I not doing this? So I turned on all the ray tracing and all the cool stuff, and that game looks amazing, and is running at a buttery 60 frames plus for me at 1440, and it's beautiful, and I'm really liking it like a lot.
Game's pretty good. It's hard.
It is hard.
Good.
It is hard, and it's also does not hold your hand on navigation. You got to read signs, know where to go, take the elevator to get to the place. It reminds me of like one of these Resident Evil games John loves so much, where it's just not a lot of backtracking, but some backtracking and that sort of thing. Once you get the hang of it, though, I want a movie in this setting. I mean, Remedy makes games like this, right? Alan Wake was like this. Freaking even what was the slow-mo jumping dude?
Max Payne.
Max Payne even had its own. It was like a noir thing, but it still had its own kind of world, and they're really good at that. The acting's great. The tone and the sort of atmosphere is amazing. The abilities are great. The telekinesis stuff just makes you feel like a complete badass. That's a cool game. I'm going to keep playing that. So far, that might be my 2019 game of the year. So my 2020, 2019 game of the year. Because it came out last year and I missed it. So there.
Gotcha.
Don't you miss playing a Resident Evil game, Scott?
No, not right now. I mean, someday, like when 8 is it 8 or whatever they're calling it comes out? Maybe The Village or whatever. We'll see.
It's gonna be a good time.
Oh, I don't know.
I just saw 7 got added to Game Pass.
I did see that. It does not mean I'm playing it again, but it is on Game Pass if you want to play it. All right, tell me about. You went ahead and got Marvel Avengers. The one guy here that was the most like down on that thing. You picked it up.
I did.
Well, what happened? What's going on there?
I debated a lot about whether or not I should. Mutual friend Patrick Beja talked me into it while not trying to talk me into it. He posted his review. I asked him about it. He gave me an answer, and I thought, I'm gonna give it a go. I'm hearing enough positive-ish things about it that I think I might get something out of this game. And that's exactly right. Marvel's Avengers is not the nightmare that I thought it was going to be. That said, I don't know if I can recommend it to people. Like, this is tricky because here's the thing. License-wise, obviously you've got an amazing license with Marvel and all the characters therein. Except Spider-Man, unless you're on the PS4.
You got Shield Man, you got the Kamala Khan lady, you got your the arrow shooting fella. Oh no, he's not in yet.
He's not in it yet.
Yeah,
but he's gonna be. Well, actually, they're putting in the better Hawkeye, but that's fine. Instead of Clint. But anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole. Let's talk about this one.
Right.
So, Marvel's Avengers, first of all, does not look as bad as I thought.
Okay.
That said, there will be a moment where you're watching Bruce Banner talk to Hank Pym with Tony Stark standing around and go, wow, they've really assembled the generic white guys for a meeting here.
Yeah.
Because look at this. The problem is by going hyper realistic, they have established a baseline of what you think a character should look like. And that is Tony Stark looks like Robert Downey Jr., Bruce Banner looks like Mark Ruffalo, and Ant-Man looks like Michael Douglas. It's that Ant-Man. It's not Scott Lang.
Okay.
So instead, you get these variations of the characters where Tony Stark looks like Ben Affleck for some reason, and you're like, he's Batman. And it's just there's a weird disassociation with a lot of the characters. But I will say they clearly heard the feedback because efforts have been made to make them look better than what we saw in the trailer.
Okay.
And they have improved.
Okay.
It's not great, but it's not awful.
Okay. Well, does it satisfy your Marvel needs? Like overall, is it like, oh yeah, me as a giant fan of these comic books, Not even MCU necessarily, but just like, straight up just a Marvel Avengers, do you walk away going, that was a satisfying run that made me feel like I was in the comic book and I was these characters? Like,
so that's maybe where the game does its best, is that, and this is actually what got me to want to play the game, is that each character in the game, which there are 6, I believe, each character in the game right now feels like its own class. It's almost like there's going to be a lot of Destiny comparisons with this game. It's almost like if Destiny, each class just happened to be a superhero.
yeah.
And so when you're playing Captain America, probably shouldn't have picked that one. When you're playing Captain America in the very beginning, he feels different than Thor, who feels different than Iron Man. There are similarities. There's light attack, heavy attack. These are your special moves. But they do things and they fight differently. And as a result, there have been some interesting things that I've found with that game. For example, if you look at the initial roster, the character I'm the least interested in being on paper is Black Widow.
Yeah.
She's just a spy lady with guns. and shocking sticks.
Yeah.
Not the most interesting character in the whole wide world. As far as how she plays as a class in that game, favorite character to play in the game.
Oh, wow.
And so far, I only just got Thor, so we'll see. But but she's great. I really like her play style. And as a result, there's this feeling of like, oh, okay, these are all classes and I kind of understand where this is coming from. And then you go out in the world and you're running around with these other superheroes and you're doing superhero things and you're beating things up together. And I haven't played with anybody yet because I don't know anybody else that's playing on PC right now. But I can even see where loading this game up with your buddies and going in and doing missions together would be an absolute blast and would be amazing because you assemble your squad. Everybody's got the character they like. They've got their gear. And all of a sudden you're playing kind of this big 3D Diablo style beat 'em up that's really flashy and over the top and big. And you're playing as these iconic heroes. And on paper, that's all super cool. I feel like execution wise, I don't know if I love the grind yet. And that's maybe where it's going to be a little rough. It is reminding me a lot of Destiny, which is both good in some ways and bad in some ways. The thing that I think I can say is if you're on the fence about this game, the single player experience and story has been decently long so far. I'm not done with it yet. I think I'm coming up on the ending of it. So it's got a pretty decent length solo campaign.
Yeah. And
it's been pretty good. And I feel like if that's all you get out of it, you have to make your own judgment if $60 is worth that. But it's there and it exists.
Okay.
If you're going to go online and play with friends and continue past what's initially there, I think there's really something to it. I think it would be a super fun multiplayer game for people to jump in and do Avengers stuff together. Especially with the way they do characters where you'll have some who are flying around, some are swinging, some are double jumping, all that stuff. Like, I think there's some really cool stuff to be had there.
How button mashy is it?
It's pretty button mashy, but you can button mash to succeed. But honestly, the game's pretty hard. If you're just going to go in and button mash, like they have a lot of good counters to most of what you do. And you'll find that you probably have to use some level of strategy to get going.
Right. Okay.
And also one nice thing, we kind of joked about it at one point, like they do a good job paying tribute to the characters. As Thor, you throw the hammer and there is a button to call it back.
Yeah.
It's maybe not as satisfying as Kratos' axe in God of War, but for a game where there's, 5 other heroes that are fully fleshed out, it's pretty darn good, including one move, which I really love, where he just throws the hammer and it hits someone in the chest and then pins them to the ground because they physically can't lift it.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good move.
Yeah, I'm watching Iron Man fly over the or what is this bridge? Is this in Brooklyn? I don't know. Where this is.
Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, Golden Gate.
Yeah.
This looks all right. It looks okay. Blowing
yeah,
shit up.
It's pretty freaking solid. It's pretty good in some ways, but I would say if you're on the fence about it, maybe wait for a discount. It is not perfect. It has a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
It's buggy as shit is one of the biggest problems.
Yeah.
I've seen some weird things in that game. But I'm having a good time with it. And so I don't feel like I threw money down the toilet. I'm going to keep playing it. I'm going to probably play it for a while. If other people get it, I would probably play that game with them online. And I think it would be a good time. But I can't just say it's phenomenal. Everybody should go out and buy it. There's too much weird wonkiness around it.
But if you love Marvel, it seems like this Brian Ibbott's review sounds a little bit like what you're saying. Like his fandom is a huge part of it. Like he loves this stuff, and so even with some imperfection, he's in. But he, fully admits says, if you're not already into, like, if you don't already love this stuff, you may not be as forgiving of some of the problems right now, anyway. Right. Yeah. And since it's a living game, meaning lots of updating, lots of, they're going to try to keep it great for the fans or whatever. In theory, this thing's going to just keep improving. So I don't know. That's good to hear that it's, it's not the freaking bonfire poo bag you were fearing.
Yes.
Not entirely. Right.
And they've got, if you look at them and you go, I hate how these characters look. There are a lot of costumes. Some of them you have to pay for. Some of them you can earn.
Yeah.
They do a lot of things with color variations, though. So there tends to be a case of like, you're only really going to pay if there's something you desperately want. But in general, I've been able to, when I got a character that looked stupid, go, okay, I'm going to go get a costume for that character. And it wasn't that hard to do.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. Well, there you have it. John's
thanks
early
for sharing
review.
that. It's good to know what's up with that game because I installed the beta.
Yeah.
And then I didn't play it. I deleted it. So I was like, it's interesting to hear that it's not that bad. Maybe I should give it a try.
I also downloaded the beta and then didn't play it, which is now inactive, right? You can't play the beta. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to try and stream some if people want to check it out. I'm going to try and get it out there so people can
is it released?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's out.
Yeah, it's out.
I missed that.
Was it
like, I know
week?
it's out because you're talking about it, but I'm surprised I missed any announcement.
It's only a week, right? I think, since it's been out. About a week? Something like that.
Yeah, I guess so. I just didn't see anything about it. Like, it just missed me completely.
Yeah.
By the way, as a little aside here, you guys have talked about some awesome games that have been interesting, like Star Renegades.
Mm-hmm.
And John's not done. He's going to talk about another game that I also, not going to spoil here. He'll tell you in a second. But they're all games I was like, maybe I'm going to buy one of these. You talking about Star Renegades? It got me itchy to press the buy button on Steam.
Yeah.
And I just didn't do it. And then I was like, let me open up Xbox. Let's see if it's on Game Pass. And like both of these games that I was contemplating buying are just on Game Pass.
Yeah, they're just there.
Like,
this keeps happening to me too, by the way. This keeps happening to me. I'm like, ooh, that sounds neat. And I'll go, oh, okay, what are we looking at here? 19? Oh,
I mean, Spirit Farrier's on here.
Yeah, and it's great. Yeah. That's where I'm playing
Every game Scott talked about last week is on Game Pass, and I think I downloaded every single one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, for me, like 50, 60 cents. Like, it's like $100 in games that it, just recommended that it's just
that you can just go
costing me nothing if I already had the pass.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane value. That's where I think Microsoft's going to... I mean, I realize we're a little biased toward it because the PC side of it has turned out to be pretty damn good. But I don't know, man. Like, if I can go back and forth between a TV and my computer playing Gears Tactics and have all that synced, and maybe on the one thing over there it's not even installed, I'm just playing it over the cloud. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, all right. John, how is Crusader Kings? You said you were going to dig in and like learn more. I gave up. I can't do it. I
tried. I got further in the tutorial and I was doing really good and I was putting in effort to understand it and all of that. And I was like, good. Got it. And I got to combat and I realized why I need these games to be turn-based, because I set my unit to attack and he was like over there hitting the building.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the enemies moved away.
Yeah.
And then I watched them proceed to move out into the ocean. and then move up, and I'm just sitting there watching all this happen, not doing anything, and then move up into my territory, and then move over into one of my cities, and then start attacking my city. I was like, oh no, I'm supposed to do something because I was just waiting for a turn to come by.
Yeah.
I'm really not used to the, you have to pause in order to do things. I think there's an amazing game there. I can see the depth forming. I can see the systems coming together and all of that.
Yeah.
But boy, I wish Crusader Kings, and I know that it has a huge litany of fans that would all disagree with me, but boy, I would love it more if it was turn-based.
It's funny. The historical ones I prefer turn-based, but Stellaris, their other huge game, the sci-fi one, I like that it isn't. I like that one's like this real-time thing, hybrid that you're talking about. And I don't know why. I don't know why I make the distinction between the two. But I had the same problem, and I got to the same part. I got to the tutorial part where I got to combat, and I went, what the frick is everyone doing? And I just went, all right, save, I'll come back later.
That's what I did. That was all I did. And I think part of it was they're like, okay, go get him. And I was like, okay. And then another message popped up, and I clicked through it and went, shit. And then all of a sudden, all this stuff started happening. And I was like, I bet that message was important because now they're attacking my kingdom and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It was very handholdy up to that moment. And then they said, all right, swim. And I just immediately drowned.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I gotta try it again. I think there's something there. I think there's something cool there.
I mean, it must be,
still
right?
in the tutorial.
Like the reviews are through the roof, the mainstream ones, the user reviews, everybody acts like this is the second coming of gaming God. And then I get in and go, like I do with like the best tabletop games. I get halfway through the rules and go, I can't do this thing. This is too much brain power. Now I need to just go shoot a thing or something. I don't know. I struggle. So I'm glad to hear at least both of us gave it a fair shake.
Well, I think this one's like this is like a dumbed down version though, right? Like, because I have two, and it was impenetrable. I could tell that some inbreeding was going on.
Yeah,
but like
based on the reviews I've read, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, but like it wasn't in 3D. It's just like it's mainly text boxes in the mat. Like it was, you had to suspend your disbelief for a lot of it. So
yeah.
I think I should get it because I really like the idea. It's just 2 was too hard. Like everyone's saying 3 is way easier to get into.
Well, what if you
a little bit like, it's still a hard game.
My impression is that you would probably soak it right up because the way you play Stellaris, same thing. Like it's very similar. Yeah. In fact, it reminds me
lose a week to it or something.
Yeah, right? That's the other thing. So based on some of the discussions we've had lately about the kinds of games you're trying to stay away from, maybe this is the wrong game to steer you toward, but. I don't know. It'd be hard to say without you kind of giving it a look. But it's Game Pass, so it's an easy check into kind of game. I found myself wanting to.
You have a leg up on it that I don't have. For me, learning this game is unlearning all the habits that Civilization has taught me.
Yep.
Before I pick up a game like it, so.
Right.
It's been difficult. I think you probably have a lot of the knowledge that would be needed to get moving on this quicker than I did.
I agree.
Yeah, Stellaris. Oh yeah, Stellaris is a turn-based. It's pause-based.
Yeah, same thing. It's
which
very
is
similar.
like, I mean, it's just like making your own turns, basically.
Yeah, if you that's what I'm saying. You with your knowledge of the way Stellaris works, that's the system here. So.
Yeah, it's like SimCity. Like Surviving Mars is like that, and so is what's another one I play that I really like? Banished.
Oh, Banished, yeah. Banished is very much like that. Yeah, it is like a city builder in a lot of ways. But John is there's something about it being ancient world conquer business that I go full civilization mind on them, and that's the wrong mindset. And
you'll get conquered without lifting a finger.
Yeah, you're the worst king in the history of all of Eurasia. But it did work well. I mean, it worked well as a transition when I'm playing Old World, the name you love of that one game. But because Old World is like, hey, what if it was Civilization, but all this extra stuff, other things, different mechanics, but still the shell is very similar. So I eased right into that, no problem. This thing was just like, wait, what now? What am I doing? If I talk to this queen, are people blowing stuff up while I'm talking to her? Like, there's a lot of that. All right. Bo, you played Divinity 2 a bit.
Yep, we blazed through Act 3.
Oh, nice.
So we're on to Act 4. Act 3, you'll be happy to hear, because you were with us in the beginning, but
schedules are such.
being what they are. Yeah. It's okay. The game has devolved into just a murder hobo fest. Like, we're not doing much story. We're just going around and like, do they look violent? Let's kill them.
Yeah.
And because I think we're playing in the evenings when everyone wants to relax, and it's the wrong game when you're just trying to relax for an evening. You don't want to like experience nuanced story, but that's the game we're playing. So I think Borderlands 3 is going to be up next.
Well, while you were talking, I just want to share something. I don't know when this
happened. Something happened over on your end. I thought maybe I said something so funny that you fell off.
No, I don't know what happened, but somehow, some way, a big blob of what I think is like raspberry jam ended up on my shoes.
Oh, shios. Shoes.
So I've been like smushing this together and rubbing these feet together for I don't know how long, and my floor is covered in a film of it.
Oh no!
Wait, what's on your? Can you show your shoe again?
Yeah. See how it's kind of purple?
Oh, then that's not blood.
No, that's like
you're not bleeding from somewhere. You don't realize. It's like, guys, my shoes are covered in blood. Where do you think it came from?
It's fine. It just smells like pennies.
I smell toast as well. No, this is my wife made blackberry currant jam something, and I used a bunch on a sandwich right before here because I just had to throw something in me that was like carbs and stuff. And then I must have blocked.
How did it get all over your shoe?
I think while I was making it, I must
have
dropped
it. You got a plate and it goes into your mouth. How did? I can see spilling a bit on your shoe. It looks like someone.
I think while I was doing it, a big old ball must have fallen off the spoon I was using because it's almost out of the can, and it probably just blopped on there. And I've just been sitting here grinding it into the other shoe. And wiping it all over the place.
Okay, so they weren't prefab sandwiches.
No, there was me making one. So all right, sorry, did not mean to derail us there. Where were we? Divinity 2.
I'm very happy you showed me your shoes.
I feel like a dummy.
I will offer you this on Divinity 2, Bo. I played with a group that was of a very different temperament than your group, I think.
A good group, sometimes called.
and even in our group, which was very engaged and very much trying to follow the story, by Act 4 and late 3, we were like, "You guys know what's going on?" Yeah. And there was a lot of like, "Do these guys like us?" No. We'd go walking in there. Can you talk to them? Oh no, they're trying to kill me. You guys, you got to come help. It turns out these are bad guys.
Yeah,
we had a lot of trouble with that. Following the narrative of like, hey, you're all trying to become a god, and there can be only one, and all that. We were all in on that. We understood that, but when it got into, well, these are the paladin order of so and so, and these are these guys, and they feel this way about this thing. We had a lot of trouble following it, and it kind of turned into walk into an area. Did we get attacked? Okay, sell and buy stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't get attacked, or we did get attacked. Okay, kill everybody. Yeah. It was a lot of that nuance went away by the later acts of that.
Yeah, especially when someone's halfway through dialogue by the time everyone else catches up. The worst, and I'm going to air this publicly because I haven't given them Scott, you haven't been there, but I haven't given them shit. The two people I've played this game before. I'm playing with them. I'm having fun. It's not charity, but I've played the game before, right?
Yeah.
So, let's all work together. This game is best enjoyed working together, staying in the same area, doing the same stuff. Every 5 minutes, they're both on the other side of the map. Like I like, dude, watch two dots go the opposite direction so many times. I'm like, you guys, just pick one thing and do it together, and I will follow you like an NPC wherever you go.
Yeah.
And they both assume I'm their NPC and move in different directions. So yeah. I'm looking forward to Divinity being over because these are not the right people to be playing that game. Don't tell them I said that, though.
And, they don't listen to the show, right? They don't hear this, so they don't.
No, unless like if we talk about Crofton a lot.
Yeah, he'll
get a tingle in the back of his neck, and then he'll feel like he should listen, but only to the part we talked about him in.
We only have to say his name. If you say his name 5 times like Candyman, he'll know. So we don't need to say it anymore. Let's not do it. No. Well, and a little bit of Dead Cells. You still play little Dead Cells? Still got a little time in there?
Yeah, I'm still pushing. The 2 cells difficulty I'm finding quite tough. And I've unlocked a lot of the stuff I got, and I got to figure out where things go. So I might just burn out on it because I didn't really sign up to get through the game 5 times necessarily. It's getting pretty like there's a commitment that's asking of me now, which is like you need to play more to be good at this game.
Yeah,
and I'm might bail on it. So that's about it.
Well, I mean, you're wringing everything you can out of it, or maybe you've wrung it all
I
out.
put like 80 hours into it the past 2 weeks or whatever, like I said last week. So,
speaking of Larkin or whoever that is that makes Divinity, aren't we right around the corner from that open beta or early access of?
Yeah. I think I might wait on it. It's only gonna be Act 1. I think it's gonna be a long time in that state. So I don't know. We'll see.
I kind of don't want. I don't want to beta test a game. I want to actually freaking play.
I want to pay full price and beta test the game. Mind you, it's a worthwhile game to do it for. I guess. But
says here this Baldur's Gate 3 will cost $60 when it launches in early access. I'm trying to find is there a note here why they're charging full? Well, maybe they just need it to get it done. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. I want to play that game, but I feel like I may hold off too. I don't want to pay for one act, so need more.
Yeah,
need more.
As a last little thing, because we're in the bow area. What does that mean?
The bow area.
But in the show notes or whatever, the Excel part. But we had an interesting conversation last week about personally, and I just wanted to say thank you to all the people who reach out to me personally. Like there's probably a lot of stuff that you two didn't see on Twitter in particular.
Sure.
Just thanking you for your message. I tried to respond to everyone, but if I didn't get back to you, it's not intentional, and maybe I'll have another look later today. But
hey, what do you say to the guy who he called me out saying I was like a heroin dealer, or no, I own, it's like I own a record. I'm sorry, I own a liquor store, and you're an alcoholic, and you're in this liquor store, and I'm making you work in the liquor store around all the alcohol that you shouldn't be drinking.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, come on my show and like games, and I just want to make my frog pants money. I don't care about your soul. Just get on the show and talk. That's kind of how it was framed. So I think a little bit the guy was not wrong in the sense that, if you only heard part of it and didn't listen to the nuance of what I said last week, you might think like, oh shit, I said those words on the show.
Sure.
But people like have this habit of like blaming you for everything, I guess, like because like first of all, I didn't come out and say I am an addict and I need to be away from video games.
Right.
And Scott didn't say, no, you have to stay. You have a contract.
Right.
right. Like Scott is not CBS or NBC. He's just a dude making shows and we hang out and record them. He's not like he's not a corporation trying to wring money out of me. Like he just invites me here and I'm honored to be here. And it's a couple guys.
Bo could say, he literally could say, my left toe hurts, therefore I'm not on the show for the next 8 months. And I'd say, I totally support whatever you want to do. Like I don't want him to do that, but nobody's here going, what? No, you'll be here
Scott and John have both been amazing. Kyle and Kristen too, and not Crofton and Mike. They've been okay, but like they're my good friends. I'm allowed to say that about them.
Yeah,
like really, like I've known them since they were 5 or whatever, like a long time. So I mean, all my friends are my good friends. Right. I hate trying to figure out the right words for things.
I know.
So anyway, what was I talking about? I have no idea.
You were saying.
I was just saying that people have that. The part about for me that I had the issue with is that the same thing they did with Terpster, the same thing they do with all kinds of other things. All these things they dredge up, they bring you into it and forget that you're just a guy too. That you're not. Yeah. You clearly try to be a good person in everything that you do. There's no skeletons in your closet that, and you're a pretty public person with your life. And both Scott and John, this is what I want to say. They've both been really amazing and patient. And, I've done a few rants when I'm like, watch a new video and I've got to describe the whole thing and they've had nothing but John had an amazing a bit yesterday that I failed to appreciate while we were recording, but he, had a pretty good summation of his opinion of me and all that. It was very nice. They've been amazing.
Yeah.
And if it does come to it where I'm just like, I cannot, I have to say goodbye to video games, it's kind of me maybe getting ready, maybe not. I'm in a state of uncertainty. So I'm not going to go. And it's socially acceptable drugs. Like no one's worried about a cigarette smoker killing themselves, like running out in the street and jumping off a bridge because they smoked too many cigarettes, right? Like it's a long death or long tail to death and decay and all that shit that comes out of it. So like, I think games are kind of in that boat. Like I'm not going to play a game and, stick the controller in my ear and blow up my brain with it or something, like it's It's okay.
Sure.
We're okay. We're calm. Everything's calm. Scott and John have been amazing. Everyone I've worked with has been amazing.
Yeah.
Everything I do.
Well,
so,
we would hope that we would always, respond the way we're supposed to, and sometimes it's hard to know. It's uncharted territory, and on the one hand, it's like, when you kind of went down the Dead Cells rabbit hole there for a while. Mm-hmm. I assume on the other side of it, you probably went, "Oh yeah, that was too much. I need to dial back again." Like you were doing a little bit of adjustment.
Keep in mind, I lean into it for comedy too. Like I know I'm certain ways. John and Scott know I'm certain ways, and I can laugh about it. It's not it's not dangerous,
Right.
Like if I turn up and I say I played, I don't know, Spirit Farrier for 36 hours, like we're all gonna have a laugh. Scott's not gonna be like, "I'm so concerned about you." He's just like, "You should get some sleep, dude." It probably sucks, like that's it. Like I'm not. It's okay.
Yeah,
we're okay. I should quit the smoking well before I quit the video games. It's funny. I was talking to Mike about this, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not playing video games." He's like, "Why don't you just quit smoking? Why you play video games all you want?
Yeah,
what the hell's wrong with you?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "Yeah, the one has chemical hooks, and the other one seems easy because I just don't turn the TV on." But it's a fair point.
Yeah, it's a decent point. So you've said Mike 4 times. I'm just to let you know you're almost.
Oh shit, we're on a 5th warning. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I just didn't want you to get to full Candyman on either of them.
We don't want him to listen because if he actually bothered to write in, he'd be worse than all of your trolls. He'd be just arguing the whole time. He's very argumentative.
I love those guys though. They're cool.
Yeah. He's great. He's my friend. I love him.
Well,
I'm not gonna say his name though.
No, don't say it ever again. Candyman. You can say that 5 times because I think that's fake. I don't think Candyman's real. Anyway, hey, Tony Todd notwithstanding, time for an email, a quick one.
That's a good question.
This is from Vincent, who wrote and says, "Hey, team." Oh, good news, by the way. New email address. Check this out.
Oh, yeah.
talktothecore@gmail.com. talktothecore@gmail.com. I tried to get core show, core podcast, a million other things. They're all taken. We live in a time where everything's taken. So I got talk to the core.
Taken?
Core hole is probably not taken.
Where you put your messages in the core hole. Like if I have a message,
send your messages down the core hole.
You know what? I could have done
I have
that.
a message. I fold it up.
I could have done that.
The message. Here we go, and then
stick it in the corn
hole. I put it
hole.
into the core hole.
Yeah,
where the messages go.
It makes me want to say cornhole, but that's not right either. Anyway, it's talktothecore@gmail.com. I know it's already working because somehow we got one from Vincent here who says, "Hey, team. Heard you debating getting one of the new RTX cards, but that would mean for most of us also upping our display. Would be a shame to run it on a 1080p 24-inch. As someone who's planning on upgrading too, I would appreciate your takes. Thanks, Vincent." Well, I can tell you this. Everything at 1080p will run like it's made of butter and amazingness on that new card. But just know...
Also, I don't think there's any shame in it.
No, none. It's none at all. People worry about resolution
honestly,
too much.
I like 1080p. We went into all this before. I like 1080p. 1080p is fine.
Yeah.
People pushing 4K and 8K, they just want to sell you a TV.
Yeah.
Or a monitor, as it were.
Yep. That's true.
But
your fidelity experience, I would be more concerned about your monitor supporting the refresh rates you need to get the best frame rates out of it. That's way more important than resolution. Resolution's fine and all that. It's the reason that my big monitor purchase a while back was this 36-inch or whatever the hell it is, 32-inch LG. And the things I went for were G-Sync capability. So I've got the G-Sync stuff tied into that. I never have to worry about V-Sync again. Everything runs like freaking, oh my gosh, it runs like melted butter because of that. And I max out at 1440, which is fine because I don't care. Resolution is not as important as frame rate and just overall how it looks. Your eyes are going to stop telling a big giant difference. Are you going to be able to tell a difference between 1080 and 4K? Yes. You'll be able to see the difference. Will it make a demonstrable change in how you played? Probably not. Now, there are going to be people who hear this and go, whatever, that's not true. I want everything the max. And there are always going to be those people. And that's great. It pushes innovation. That's fine. But I don't think you need it. Like that, don't hold off on the card because of your display. If you get a display later and it upgrades something better, great. But if you've already got a good display you like and it's fast, boy howdy, are you going to run some awesome games with this new card if that's what you're going to invest in.
Now, they do say that there's someone who's planning on upgrading, so maybe they're already thinking of upgrading their display. And if that's the case, as somebody who has bought and returned some monitors recently, let me tell you where I wound up. I would recommend, with a caveat, going to an ultra-wide monitor. I really like ultra-wide, and it is becoming more and more supported, and having it is, as Bo says in Heroes of the Storm, it's just cheating. And in other games, it's just really good.
Yeah.
I love my ultra-wide monitor. I bought monitors that were more expensive than it after the fact and returned them because I like my ultra-wide so much. But the caveat I would say is be prepared if you play a lot of older games. Now it's an anomaly if a game doesn't support it at all. But some of the older stuff out there, you have to jump through some additional hoops. You have to do some old school PC gaming to get some games to actually play on it.
Yeah.
So be prepared for it. And sometimes a game will come out like an indie game that's just using, like pixel graphics and something like that, and it'll run with 2 borders on the side, and it's essentially running in 1080p. And that's fine. But for when it works, it's the most amazing display I've ever had. I can't speak highly enough about ultra-wide. I've done faster resolutions, I've done G-Sync, I've done all of that, and ultimately at the end of the day, it was the ultra-wide that won out as the key feature for
So that's
me.
interesting, because the aspect ratio... So I have an ultra-wide that I'm looking at right now with you guys for all production stuff. All my shows are done here. I do all my art crap here. All my video editing, it's all happening on an ultra-wide because the sort of real estate is amazing to have as much space as you have side to side as you get with an ultra wide, but I can't stand gaming on it. So it's not going to be for everybody, obviously. I don't know why. It just drives me crazy to game on it. Maybe I just didn't give it enough time or whatever. But my other big one over here is a 16:9, and that just feels right to me. So it's not going to be for everybody, but I feel like what I'm getting out of it as a production machine is the same. I'm getting out of it the strengths I get out of it there. You're benefiting from in a gaming way that for some reason just doesn't land on me. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about ultra wides in gaming for me. It just doesn't.
I mean, sometimes you have to update the field of view, which is more prominent in first person shooter games. If you don't, the game can look a little weird. Most games will automatically adapt to that sort of thing now. So I don't know. When did you try the ultra wide? Because you might find that with more modern games, you like it more because maybe
it's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a while. It probably wouldn't hurt me to.
What's the best game to trial on it?
I mean, my favorite was Heroes of the Storm because I could see from one gate to another gate without having to scroll.
Your history of cheating is well documented here on Core.
But like
showcase style, like killer app style. Like, do you have a XCOM? I don't know.
XCOM, I had to download a patch to get XCOM to run in ultra wide, but it did run, and then it was great.
What about like Horizon Zero Dawn or something like that? Like just like a game that has like a reason to view things. Like you can't put your eyes everywhere, right? So it can't be a game where you have to. It's got to be like an immersive, beautiful vista. I'm picturing like Tomb Raider or something.
Yeah, games like that, third-person games are really, really good for it. Games like World of Warcraft is actually really good in ultra wide. You just get to see more of the area, and your character is just a character in the middle. So, you just got a bigger vista to look out over. Any game that's just going to really have pretty graphics that you want to see more of while you're in the world.
Black Desert Online, basically.
Crimson Neon in the chat has a good one. Assassin's Creed Odyssey was a game that
I did play it on there. That looked good.
It was really good.
Like you said, some games take super cool advantage of it, and some don't. But most support it, at least at a baseline. Like I played Overwatch on it a bunch. It's fine.
Yeah.
And it kept a lot of UI elements out of my face, which can be bad for me because I don't notice them as much. That's the other problem I have is I had surgery, I don't know how many years it's been now, 2014, on my eyes. It was mandatory surgery. It's a long story, but genetic thing. Anyway, we live in a modern time, so I got surgery, and it was great. It fixed it. But it meant I now have a locked vision. I can't like think of it as a camera. You guys still have cameras with autofocus, even with glasses. My camera does not have autofocus. And it's not typical manual focus either. It was turned to a certain focus and then left there permanently, and there's never changing it again. That's what my human eyes are now. And it's great for this particular distance, why I don't have to wear glasses on a computer. For like watching a movie in a theater, I will wear glasses for distance, but even that's improved. But the point is, my straight ahead kind of tunnel vision distance, no problems. But when it goes to peripheral stuff, this is a little blurry way over here or way over here. And so for me to properly use an ultrawide, I gotta scan more. And I think that may have been my problem, honestly. So it's probably totally a me thing. and it was only after those surgeries that it was even a thing for me. So I think that was it. I have what they call monovision now. Which is great vision, and a million times I would be, honestly, if this is the 1800s, I'd be rocking on a porch somewhere in the middle of town going, let me tell you a story I heard one time about a rock and 3 bugs. I mean, I would have been out of it. Just a piece of shit in the town. Probably dead, but I'd be blind. I have this idea what it would be like.
I think I'm maybe misunderstanding monovision now.
But the mono, not monovision. It's mono.
How did it kill you in this scenario?
Well, just because I'd have been blind and I'd get trampled by a horse, or
right.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I just wasn't making that connection.
But I'd be a crazy old buzzard. I'd just be I'd be mad because I couldn't do anything I loved. It would be terrible. Like I'm ever grateful every day that this technology existed and I could have it fixed. But it did mean that this, I'm locked in. There's just no other way around it. So for me to be locked in on this side of my Ultrawide, I have to kind of go over here to be locked in. I have to be over here.
Oh, that's...
So it's not that big a deal. On a 16:9, no problem. A Ultrawide, I kind of have to, it's like...
Yeah, but you got your own unique challenges that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Like that a lot of people probably don't relate to, and you don't bring it up because it's like, takes too long to explain.
Yeah.
And all that stuff, right? Like I totally... Wow. Oh, thanks for sharing that. I didn't know that.
I've never really talked about it in a ton of detail on here. It's not like it's a secret or anything. I've talked about it on TMS and stuff, but as gaming, like sometimes I'll be on a stream and the chat room will be losing their mind because I'll be going, where's that thing? And they're like, it's up in the left-hand corner. What is he, blind?
I watched you do this recently.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because
Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Looking for a freaking robot.
Yeah, and my peripheral isn't always... It's not the worst thing on the planet. I do have peripheral vision, but it's not the focus anymore. Like I used to be able to just see it as a bigger picture. Now it's a smaller thing. So sometimes I miss a thing in the corner, or I didn't see the prompt, or the thing on the map is down here low, so I didn't know it was there. Like stuff like that happens to me a lot.
Well, if there's one thing I've learned about chat rooms and watching people play video games is that they're extremely patient and tolerant when other people are not seeing or doing exactly what they're experiencing.
Yeah,
and they give a lot of room to be like, that person is a different person and they think differently than me. So I should think about before criticizing them and telling them what's up and asking them why they're such an idiot, Kappa, noob, rainbow. They really take time to reflect on the diversity of people before they comment in the chat.
Well, and I
think what I really appreciate is the way they form a nice orderly line to make sure only one person tells you about the thing you're missing, and not everybody yelling it all at once, because it would get lost in the shuffle. Yeah. It's just one person and says, hi, I'm the elected representative that's going to tell you, get good, noob. It's in the right-hand corner of your screen.
Right, get good, noob. Exactly right.
Except you guys in our chat room are the exception.
Oh, no, you guys are totally the exception.
Of course.
No problem.
Of course.
Now, I was going to say, Heroes of the Storm was an interesting case for me because I noticed it a lot playing that game. I would struggle. It's why I had to do a locked camera for so long, because I needed that centering, right? And that was a thing to overcome. And when I finally did and didn't have to use a locked camera and I could navigate the way I needed to, everything about my game improved. I got better, I got faster, I got all that stuff. But that was a wall to get through, because...
So was I pushing you past a point of comfort because you had a disability that I wasn't aware of? Like, come on, unlock your camera if you want to be good. Do you want to do a show with me? Unlock your camera.
You never were like that. For me, it was like I never felt pressure like that. I just felt like I want to do this, so I didn't want to have the noob thing on. Like, it felt newbie and lame, but I also, you know what? Part of me appreciates
it. Now.
Well,
I still have a locked camera. I feel kind of shitty now.
But I liked how Blizzard. I liked that Blizzard thought about that and said, this is a good, accessible feature that people can get rid of and quickly learn different ways, or come at it from League or whatever, and they'll be better. They already don't need it. But the training wheels were a nice introductory thing for me because it helped in that way. And that's why at first I would really struggle with it. I'd overcompensate distance and drag too far and realize it's because I'm not seeing the way I'm supposed to. But then I got the rhythm, and now I can't do it the old way. Now I can't go back to it.
It helps if you build on particular types of muscle memory. Once you get confident with that, pushing the boundary on the camera, you know, because you're like, I know how to press QWE really well now, and do the right click, you know, so like now I can unlock.
Yeah, and do it in your mid 40s is fun because you basically are teaching yourself new tricks, and you always think you can't, but you actually can. So,
anyway. Neuroplasticity, baby.
That's right. Neuroplasticity is the way to go. Well, that was a deep. That email took us places. I really appreciate that email. Thanks for. Oh, geez, that's loud. That's not supposed to be like that. I don't know why that was turned all the way up. Anyway, hey, well done. If you'd like to send us an email, that new email address to use and remember and write down is talktothecore. Talktothecore@gmail.com. Who do you talk to? Talk to the core. That's how you remember it. Talk to the core. Gmail. I mean, now in retrospect, core hole would have been all right. I just didn't think.
I'm sure it's taken. Core hole's got to be taken.
Probably, but it's not bad. I just didn't think of it. Anyway,
core mail hole.
Mail hole.
Core mail hole.
Make sure you spell mail with an I. Yeah.
Yeah, with an I, please.
Yeah. We don't want the other spelling of core mail hole. Anyway, thanks for writing in, and please write more. We love it. Support us at patreon.com/core show. There's lots of great reasons to do so. Read all about it there at patreon.com/core show. And big thanks to everybody who already does. Frogpants.com/core is our website. You can find a link to that new email address and every other way to get a hold of us there. You can also find us on Twitter, CorePod, John_Jagger. I'm at Scott Johnson, and Bo is at Bo Schwartz. We also have a Reddit page, and I never tell people about it. It's frogpants.reddit.com. Whenever there's a core episode going up, I put a little thing up there, so you can find it there as well if you're one of those Reddit types. I think that's going to do it for us. Any final words of wisdom, Bo, before we go? We should call your... someone in the chat coined the phrase Bo's... The Bo Zone. We should have a little part of the show where we get into this neurological and the philosophical a little bit, and we call it the Bo Zone.
The Bo Zone layer.
Yeah.
Boson layer. Oh, nice one, John. I like it.
No, the boson layer. That's good. That's a whole podcast.
Rapidly depleting. Burning himself off the face of the earth. One video game and cigarette at a time.
That's amazing. But do you want to leave us any kind of rapturous comment?
Okay. Yeah, it's not going to be punchy, but just if you have some sort of thing, neurological, whatever. YouTube is great, and everyone's vlogging their stuff. So chances are there's someone out there affected by it who's just casually talking about their life experience. Go find them.
And next week, we're going to talk a little bit how to sift through the ones that suck and the ones that are good, and how you know the difference. Because I want to.
If it starts, let me tell you about the.
Are we planning next week's show now?
No, I don't know. Just I just want to hear in the boson layer. I want to hear more about how to sift through YouTube when it comes to these issues. I think that's a hard thing to do. It's a cesspool, not a cesspool. It's just busy over there. You got to find the right thing.
There's lots of misinformation, lots of well-intended misinformation.
Well, I like the thinking's good. John, any words to add or anything you want to say?
No, apparently I got to go find out why a toilet isn't flushing and a microwave wants to melt. So my evening is set.
Perfect.
Find out YouTube.
Yep. And next week, we'll find out how John found a YouTube channel that helped him with these two problems. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back next week with more right here on Core. This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Frog Pants Network. Get more shows like this at frogpants.com.